Running a business comes with a lot of what ifs, but luckily there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer. This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
I am Nicole Khalil, and you're listening to the This Is Woman's Work podcast, where together we're redefining what it means, what it looks and feels like to be doing woman's work in the world today, with you as the decider. And being the decider means setting aside all the expectations, opinions, the shoulds, and the supposed tos, and replacing all of that with trusting, valuing, and listening to yourself, your inner knowing, your truth, and your desires. And there are many, many ways to go on this journey of self-discovery and self-appreciation. And one of those ways is through astrology. And I need to be upfront that I'm a bit of a skeptic, but I'm also wildly curious. And if there's one thing that I'm all for, it's any tool or practice that helps us understand, appreciate, and connect to ourselves more and better. I do know that astrology is far more complex than just knowing your sun sign and reading your daily horoscope. And it seems to be popping up everywhere I turn. So I'm kind of in that space of, all right, universe, you have my attention. Now, before you skeptics roll your eyes, hear me out. Astrology has been around for, just a few millennia. And whether you chalk it up to cosmic alignment or wild coincidence, some of the most successful names out there aren't exactly scoffing at astrology. And to be clear, I'm talking about strategic astrology sessions, not the daily app telling you today's a bad day to buy shoes. So, whether you're an all-in believer or just astro-curious like me, stick around as we unpack how birth charts could impact your path to success, how our guest's IM system helps in business and life, and what it means to be an innovator, maven, or authority. Spoiler alert, authority is my profile. So, our guest, Tali Edut, is one half of the dynamic duo known as the AstroTwins, who are among the most sought-after astrologers and intuitives of our times. They are the advisors to a roster of CEOs, celebrities, global leaders, and successful entrepreneurs, including Beyonce, Dua Lipa, and Emma Roberts. They're the authors of over 20 books and have appeared as guest experts on many TV shows. Their work on the subject of spiritual technology is an essential tool for business success and has been featured at leadership conferences around the world. And their most recent book, The Astrology Advantage: Use Your Horoscope for Personal and Professional Success, is out now. So, Tali, thank you for joining me. And I'd love, if you're open to it, to start by addressing the skeptics who are tuning in. Why do you believe astrology and our birth charts are something that we should be paying attention to and listening to?
Well, being a skeptic is probably a good idea because as of yet, astrology has not been scientifically proven. But if you think in terms of what scientists do, they study evidence, they study patterns, and they form hypotheses. And human beings have been doing that since the ancient Babylonians. They've noticed trends that happen in different times. There's so much, astrology is highly mathematical. And, Pythagoras was an astrologer, Galileo was an astrologer, so I don't think anyone should necessarily believe it outright, but try it on. Do your chart, learn about the characteristics of the signs, and I'll bet you'll be fascinated. And I do find it to be, this kind of like your spiritual, chat GPT, right? It's like if once you've done what's called your birth chart, which is getting a map of where all the planets were when you were born, because most people only know their sun sign. You're a Cancer, I'm a Sagittarius. But once you drill down, you have a moon sign. Every single planet was in a different zodiac ruled part of the sky. And only someone born the same minute in the same time zone as you is likely to share your charts. It's very much like there's a high mathematic improbability that you'll meet someone. Even me and my twin sister, born 4 minutes apart, have slightly different charts. So learn it, try it on. And if it doesn't fit, don't use it. Remain a cynic. I mean, remain a skeptic, but don't be a cynic, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So you said a few things that really resonated with me in there. First, the historical element of it is one of the reasons why I refuse to be dismissive of it. I mean, it's been around for so long, and I feel like the ancientness of it is something to be valued. I also love that you talked about it being more complex and like the minute that you're born, because I think a lot of us do not everybody born in July who's a Cancer is going to be the same. And it's like, yeah, you're right.
Right.
And God, anything that has us listening to ourselves, being curious about ourselves, learning more about ourselves. And as you said, like keep what works for you, throw out the rest. But the energy spent in self appreciation and self awareness, in my opinion, is never wasted. So,
Exactly. If
okay.
it's only a if all it is a jumping off point to deeper self exploration. I mean, right now, people, I'm an avoidant attach, or I'm a anxious attach, or, well, how is that any more provable than knowing the moon was in the Scorpio part of the sky when you were born? There's going to be confirmation bias either way, So,
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess where I want to lead this conversation is a little bit about your book and how horoscope and birth charts can be used for personal, but I want to focus more on professional success because I think a lot of times we think about horoscopes or birth charts as more of a personal endeavor. And I'm
yeah.
very curious how this is showing up in people's businesses, their work, their cultures, what have you.
Well, for most of us, the personal is the professional because we spend the majority of our lives at work, or we work from home and there's an overlap, of our personal and professional more and more, as we do less, as machine learning comes on and, our emotional intelligence becomes more valuable. And so astrology really can help you not just understand what your strengths are, but and we write about that in our book, The Astrology Advantage, but also how we put a lot of energy and a good part of the book is dedicated to team building, communication, relationships. Very few people can't it's like we have to have a personal brand now to stand out in many industries. You can't just be like, here's my resume. It's like people want to know what makes you different, what sets you apart. So this is where astrology can give you that advantage too, and just how you present yourself and how you understand the people you work with and how you navigate. Even the way you set up your office or manage your time can be found inside of your astrological DNA.
Again, I love this self discovery and then learning about yourself and applying it to all of our environments. And yes, we spend so much time in professional ones. So I know part of the book is, or a lot of the book is around your innovative IM system. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how it's helping business owners and entrepreneurs and people with their personal brands?
Absolutely. IAM stands for Innovator, Authority, or Maven. Those are the three archetypes that we've kind of renamed. But so when you learn, I mentioned earlier, you have this whole birth chart with, where's Jupiter, where's Saturn, the moon. it's really challenging for people to memorize all that at first. After a while, as you probably will, but we wanted to give people a way to use their entire chart the same way you would use your zodiac sign. I'm a Sagittarius, but I have Moon, Mercury, Mars, and Venus in Scorpio, and Jupiter and rising in Capricorn. So I'm very little Sagittarius in my whole makeup. So basically, what we do is we put 13 points of your chart into an algorithm, into a blender, and out comes your I am archetype. Uh, the innovators are people whose charts are made up of mostly cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Those are the initiators, the pioneers, because those signs actually start every season. There's a solstice or an equinox at the beginning of each of those seasons. Now, the authorities are the people whose charts are mostly fixed signs: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. Those signs are very creative, but they're also very tenacious. They hold things down, they like to systematize everything. They love traditions, even if they're parties and festivals, which is you. And then the Mavens, lastly, are the people who are mostly mutable signs: Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Those zodiac signs end the season. And so they're like the ambassadors. So we kind of say, the innovator plants the seed, the authorities harvest the crop, and the mavens turn it into a meal and gather everyone around the table to enjoy the party. And you may be a hybrid. Some people are. So there's basically 6 in all archetypes that you can be. And you can use, so what we've done is then, because we don't think astrology for astrology's sake is useful for too much. It's only when you can apply it to life here on this planet that it really comes to life. So for you can use it for time management, for example. Just there's so many examples, but one of them, innovators, which is what I am. We live in the future. We're always thinking about what's next and what's ahead, and sometimes we drive people crazy because we forget our reverence for the past. Authorities are nostalgic. They remember the history, the tradition, and then the mavens are very much in the moment. Now, that can become problematic at work if you don't understand, or it can actually be an asset to build a very diversified team as well,
Mhm.
because having someone from each of those and playing to that person's strengths. I mean, we have worked with teams and we've worked with entrepreneurs. We have an entrepreneurial coaching group. And once people understand, they often we've seen some people like change roles or even redo schedules as a result of what they've discovered. And it's like the point is to be effective, not just, it's not one size fits all. Work is
Yeah.
just not one size fits all. Yeah. So,
Well, and it's interesting too, as you were sharing that, I think sometimes it's the rediscovery of things. So, like when you talked about authorities having an inclination towards history, when you said that, that spoke to me
I did.
directly because I was initially a history major in college. I love historical novels. I totally love traditions, holidays, and that's very much an element of who I am, but I don't know that it would ever be something I would use to describe myself or that I've thought about that at all until you said that. And so my point is that I love things like this because sometimes it's a reminder of things we know and have forgotten or have dismissed,
Yeah.
and just sort of that reconnecting of some of the things that we're not thinking about every single
Yeah,
day.
your superpowers are encoded in your chart. Like when we first got into astrology, it was actually because my sister Ophie's college boyfriend, for I could say our 21st birthday, because it was the best present I got too. He did our birth chart for us, and we got this 30-page booklet. And that's when I discovered I had all this Scorpio in my chart. And explains so much of why I never felt like such a free-spirited Sagittarius. But one thing that really stood out was that it said with Venus and Scorpio, the color of the room you're in really affects your mood. You can be angry when it's like and I love just I am so sensitive to just the nuances and the power of color and mood, and it's just like but I wouldn't have I was an arts major, but I really it kinda gave me the go ahead, the
Yeah.
courage to keep pursuing, like, doing graphics and interiors, which I'd love to do on the side, so yeah.
You know how we're supposed to drink a bazillion ounces of water every day? Cute idea, but between work, life, and trying to remember what day it is, hydration doesn't always make the cut, which is why I love Cure. Cure hydration packs make it simple. Plant-based electrolytes, no added sugar, just 25 calories, and it hydrates better than water alone. And you know I love me some efficiency. My favorite flavor is lemonade. It's light, clean, and doesn't taste like somebody dumped a candy store into your water bottle. I use it on long recording days when I'm traveling or any day I hit noon and realize that I'm running purely on caffeine. And when I need more than hydration, like pre-workout where I need all the help I can get, I grab Cure Energy. It's got natural caffeine and electrolytes that get me moving and help me survive the part where I question all my life choices mid-workout. Staying hydrated isn't just about drinking water. You need electrolytes too. That's why I love Cure. It's clean, it tastes great, and it actually works. And for This Is Women's Work listeners, you can get 20% off your first order at curehydration.com/woman's work with code woman's work. And if you get a post-purchase survey, make sure to let them know that you heard about Cure right here. It really helps support the show. Don't just drink more water. Upgrade it with Cure.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent, savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Every Who down in Who Newville liked the holidays a ton, but where to get great prices on gifts, they had no idea. None. They searched and they searched for great gifts under $25. Gifts for spouses and friends and even their toddlers. When suddenly one Who shouted, Walmart has what you want, knowing they have Lego, Tree Hut, and low prices to flaunt. So they enjoy the holiday season as Who's often do. Cheering and shouting, Walmart has incredible gifts. Who knew? Find gifts they'll love under $25 at Walmart.
It almost feels like a little bit of a astrological validation for something you already know, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, which I love. Okay, so with those 3 main I am archetypes, you said this already, but I was looking at my chart. Is anybody 100% one of those things? Or are we all kind of a little bit of a combination in one? So for example, on my chart, and I don't know if I'm reading this right, Tali, so you tell me, but it's like
Mhm.
46% 6 times authority, 30% 4 times Maven, 23% 3 times Innovator. I don't know what that means other than the obvious, which is authority was the highest percent. So if you can just share a little bit more about what people would be looking at when they get their chart.
Well, absolutely. So what you will get is we take 13 points in the chart for the algorithm, your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. And then all the planets, Mercury through Pluto, which we count as a planet still in astrology. And then these 2 points called the north and south nodes of the moon, the lunar nodes. And so, of those 13 points, 6 of them were in fixed signs for you your Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, north and south nodes. 3 of them were in Innovator cardinal signs your Sun, Venus, and Pluto. And then 4 were Maven, your moon, your Mercury, your Neptune, and your rising. Now we want to develop it more so that we can get into like every planet too. But then it gets as complex as a birth chart. But whatever, it's still but so that means you are majority 46% of those 13 planets are authority, or placements are authority. So that's why that's your dominant archetype. But we have, I've never seen a chart, although it is possible for someone to be 13 of one and 0 of the other. The most I've seen are 11, someone with 11 authority. My niece, who became an accountant. So there you know, although she was also a makeup YouTuber as a teen, but she was very like serious and made it happen. So yeah.
Right. Yep. Well, and so you had said earlier, and again, tell me if I'm misunderstanding this, that Cancer sign is typically under the Innovator. I'm a Cancer as my sun
So,
sign, but
mhm.
I'm an authority. So when I read, for example, Cancer horoscopes or lean heavy into learning about Cancer, am I potentially misinterpreting or not getting totally clear information for me, given that authority is my archetype? Is my question making sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. I wouldn't say so, because Cancer is your sun sign, and your sun sign really is, it's the center of the universe. It's the fuel you burn. It really is your personality. The sun rules. It's the main character of your chart. So, but so it's absolutely important to know and understand and read for your sun sign. But when you want to take it one step further, also read for authority, because you'll have, you're a Cancer authority, so think of it kind of, you can think of it that way too, and how that blends together. Because it's really, you're still a Cancer, you're still going to
Yeah.
be nurturing water sign, but your way of going about things may be a little, you're not going to be like a pushover, or the first one with the tissue. You're going to be like, come on, toughen it up, kid. Yeah.
Yeah. If you have time to cry about it, you have time to do something about it. Is
It's
kind
right.
of so that's probably not your typical Cancer response, but maybe that's more the authority response.
Totally. It's like,
Yeah.
let's
Okay.
solve this problem, not drown in it. Right.
Right. Right. So would you dive a little deeper into some of the traits, strengths, and weaknesses of each of the archetypes? Because I'm hoping for those people who are listening in, maybe they guess and then take the quiz and then find out for sure.
Sure. And by the way, some people will compensate for being low on one of them and realize maybe that they're doing that. So we all have access to all of these energies. It's just like, this is your factory setting. So you're not stuck with this. It's just the way you are. So people who are innovators are going to be pioneering. They're always the ones to start everything, have the big ideas. They really work best on a really big table. They might turn every surface into a desk. Definitely ahead of the curve. You know, they have a humor and a charm and a wit about them, kind of like a mad scientist, and they seem to be able to get away with it, sometimes. But they can really drive people crazy by being workaholics sometimes, or get lost in their projects, or lose track of time, or always be talking about the big idea, and need to like learn how to have a little more fun. I'd say not they turn, but for them, there's no, work is fun. They're sort of defined by what they do a lot of times, and that's what makes life juicy for them. Authorities are more compartmentalized. When they're working, they're working. When they're playing. When they're familying. When they're eating. Like, they want their office with the door. They want to leave the office to eat. The innovator will be eating at their desk. They like things simple and clean, but also very elegant. I feel like authorities have amazing taste, and they always have like a refined taste about something, whether it's literature, theater, or they want to be the experts on things. Sometimes they can get a little rigid, a little hard, like stuck in their groove and not as experimental. But they need to rest too. When they're tired, like, they can their relaxation time. Now the Mavens are kind of the trendy ones. A lot of the, pop stars and, our Mavens. Actually, Taylor Swift is an authority, which is funny, but she just made $2 billion from being, her concert, and she created a whole world around her, a whole brand. Now, but Kim Kardashian is a Maven for, which I think makes a lot. They're just like, they get the conversation started. They might be, they always have the tea. They're at the party. They're at the this. They're launching that. They're in everyone's business, but you don't mind because they're fun. They know what they're really great curators. If you want to know where to go, if you want a walking cultural guide, find yourself a Maven. They wear a lot of hats. What's great about Mavens is, they are great tinkerers and like very savvy inventors too, but they can make a big mess. Like they'll have piles of unfinished projects all over the place. So if you have a Maven in the office with you, you may have to like regularly or the home regularly remind them to clean their ish up.
Yeah. As you were going through that first, I mean, when you were talking about the authority, I was like, yep, yep, yep. So I can't, I mean, it just felt so right on for me. But you said at the start of it, something along the lines of I'm going to use these words. You didn't say this, but like we've, maybe over rotated or overcompensated based on circumstances, life, relationships, things like that. And I think life and society and expectations and responsibilities sometimes separate us from our authentic self.
They do. They do.
And I'm wondering, and also comparison, like I wonder if people listening in are like, oh, most of the, pop stars or influencers are probably Maven. So I should be a Maven if we have a tendency to think one thing is good and everything else is bad, or we're supposed to be more like this person or all of that. So my question is the advice to get connected more with your authentic self, and can all of these profiles be successful? Is my question making any sense? Like,
It's not really what you're doing as much as how you're doing it, because
right.
we can find a pop star under every one of those profiles, but it's almost like maybe the way that you have your life set up could shift. Like, for example, you know, I like to think like, God, if only we could have talked to Ben Affleck and Jennifer, the Bennifer 2.0 before they moved in together, because he's an innovator and she's either an authority or Maven. We're not sure of her time of birth, but very different. Like innovators need a lot of alone time, whereas authorities and Mavens need interactivity more, especially Mavens, which I'm pretty sure she is. And they're that having those very different ways, we can get offended by other people's, like we can misread their signals too. That doesn't quite answer what you're saying, but this is just to say that it's like understanding how other people are wired too is also helpful for preserving relationships and not taking things personally. If like, okay, I'm a photographer, I'm an innovator, I may need my assistants to bring my equipment because I'll probably forget because I'll be thinking about the shoot and
Right.
or, just how you go through your day, can be tweaked according to this for better productivity.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is that it doesn't inform or impact what's possible for you, but it
Yeah.
might inform or impact how you approach whatever it is you're doing or what you want. And I have a firm belief that when we show up as our best and most authentic selves, we tend to get the best results. And so playing to our strengths, our unique abilities, what comes a little bit more naturally is always a smart move, and this can help inform that. Is that
1,000%. Like, even the way you do social media, like, some people feel this pressure, like, I need to be on TikTok. TikTok is inherently a Maven platform. I'm going to sit down and tell you a story about this everyday thing that happened to me and just give you my opinion and flow and connect. And, you know, I think Instagram is a little more innovator and Facebook is a little more authority, because it's that more like that heartwarming connection. Do you prefer, is Facebook your platform?
Yeah.
Do you,
That would be the only platform I'd ever want to be on if I could. Yeah.
yeah, if you
Yes.
have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. See, as an innovator, I've tried TikTok and it's just like, I really enjoy watching it, but it's like, I prefer to put something a little more polished out there, a little more information forward. Like, I don't want to talk about me. I want to, or tell a story. I want to give you something to think about. So it's, that maybe I know a lot of people who are in our astropreneurs group really like took the pressure off of themselves to try to be on all the platforms or design, or even like the way you design your communications for your personal brand. We have a whole guide to how to do that according to the IM. Like, maybe do something a little more, like in-person appearances works for one person while another one might prefer a private group, and really playing to those strengths, you might have more success and more ease. We can't be all things to all people.
Right. I mean, and that especially for women, I think
Right.
has been a thing that we've sort of latched onto, this idea that we're supposed to be all things to all people all the time.
Right.
And it's like not possible. And again, what I love about tools like astrology is it reminds us about who we are and what
Mhm.
our unique abilities and strengths are, as opposed to reinforcing this idea that we're supposed to be good at everything all the time.
Yeah, I know. It's like, why do women, I mean, women's ability to bend time should be
Yeah, no
the
kidding.
clock. We don't live in chronological time, but we don't have time, we make time,
Right.
but
Yep.
that's another thing that astrology can really help you with, is like saving time on trying to do things that aren't flowing, or maybe even understanding why
Mm.
they're not flowing, and letting go.
Yeah. Yeah. Tali, my last question is for people like me who it feels like it's everywhere, and I pay attention to the signs. If something pops up in my life over and over and over again, I think it's either some internal knowing or the universe letting me know that I should be paying attention. So, for those of us who want to learn more about astrology, what might be the best next steps? Obviously, you've got your book. What are maybe two or three things that would be good places for us to start?
I think, definitely do your IM and learn that, but also go to astrostyle.com/birth chart. And then, what you'll do is you'll add your time, date, and place of birth. If you don't know your time, it's okay. You just won't get an accurate rising sign. But what it'll do is it'll give you a little booklet, a little free printout that says where every planet was when you were born, and a little description of that. And then just start learning one planet at a time. Start with your moon sign. If you want to get like, look at your sun sign, which is your main character, how you shine in the world. And then the moon sign is the inner you. It's a part of you that only the people closest to you know. It's your emotional intelligence. And I think for women, knowing our moon sign, the moon is the ruler of, it is the feminine, the moon and Venus are the only two parts of the chart that have a feminine association, which is so unfair, but whatever, we'll take them. And so learn your moon sign, and that alone, that can be like groundbreaking right there too. And then just start to go one by one. You can, our website astrostyle.com has extensive descriptions of every single planet and every sign. So it's just taking it piece by piece and getting the puzzle of you, and then soon enough you've got this whole super powered understanding of yourself.
I love that. I love that. In addition to the birth chart on astrostyle.com, there is also the IM quiz. So you can find out if you're an innovator, authority, or maven. And then let me also remind you to get your hands on the Astrology Advantage. The book is available on Amazon or anywhere you buy books. Let's support local bookstores. Tali, thank you so much for just a fascinating conversation. I am wildly curious.
Thank you so much for having me on. And I'll also mention the Astrology Advantage is available on audiobook too. So if you like to listen, you can just pop it on in your car and go. So yeah.
Love it. Yes. Clearly the people listening here are listeners. So that's a good value add.
Totally. Thanks so much. It was great to meet you.
My pleasure. Good to meet you too. Okay, friend, we've reached the end of our astrology deep dive. Whether you're leaving this conversation fully convinced that your birth chart is the secret to success, or you still have one eyebrow raised in healthy skepticism, thank you for joining me for the ride. At the end of the day, here's what I know for sure. The journey to knowing yourself better, trusting yourself more, and listening to that inner voice is where the real magic lies. Whether that comes from astrology, journaling, therapy, talking to your dog, or all of the above, I'm here for all of it. And if mapping the stars helps you connect the dots, well, then maybe the universe does have a plan for you and for me after all. Because I do believe that you are here on purpose for a purpose, and that the heavens and the stars align to make it so. And that makes you fucking magical. So get out there and be unapologetically you, because that, my friends, is woman's work.